Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooperstein here. Hope everyone is enjoying their week so far. The NBA is officially back. Can't wait to see some basketball in action later tonight. We have a full slate of games as the NBA has officially returned. On today's show, though, we're going to take a look at some of the top superstars in the NBA that could be traded during the season prior to February's NBA trade deadline. My name is Jeffrey Cooperstein. Welcome into the show here. And start us off here down in the comment section. Who will be the biggest star to get traded this season? Do you think it's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo? Do you think it's going to be someone as like an Anthony Edwards who would be out of the blue? But then again, we saw Luka Doncic get traded last season. Could there be a surprise player? Let me know down there in the comments section before I give you 5 names who I think could be on the move. Number 1, we will start with Austin Reaves, the guard from the Los Angeles Lakers. Reaves is on an expiring contract, and his deal will be up. He will be a free agent this summer after declining a max extension with the Los Angeles Lakers this offseason. And I fully expect Austin Reaves to get a bag in NBA free agency. The report out there is that Reaves is going to get at least north of 30, maybe even $40 million a season on his next contract, and I'm not sure that Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers are going to be the one to give him that. I think Austin Reaves sees himself as a number 1 option on a team offensively, and to be fair, I wouldn't doubt on him betting on himself. He's betted on himself his entire career, played at Oklahoma in college. He started out on a 2-way deal and ends up on the Los Angeles Lakers being one of their most important players. Reaves has ascended every single season of his career, and last year was his best year to date, where he averaged over 20 points, about 6 assists, and shot it well from 3 and from the field as well. I think the Lakers are in a precarious spot with Reaves because they know they need him to be a successful team this year. They obviously have Luka. They obviously have LeBron. But Reaves is that third option. And while Reaves does view himself as better than the third option, I think the Lakers also view Reaves being important to a potential title push this year. Now, the Lakers have to balance whether they want to continue with that title push and they keep Austin Reaves past the trade deadline, or do they try to get something for Reaves knowing that they will probably lose him in free agency next summer. There's going to be some teams with cap space, or maybe even a team that doesn't have cap space, but that will execute a sign and trade for Reaves next summer, and he is going to get his money. I think someone who has shown the ability to rise every single year of his career like Reaves has, just be on the lookout because Austin Reaves could be on the move, even if the Lakers are a good team in the Western Conference this year, which I fully expect them to be. And at the end of the day, I don't expect Reaves to be a Laker next summer. Whether it's via trade, whether it's in free agency, I think Austin Reaves will find himself on a new team in 2026. We'll see if the Lakers try to preempt it by trading him here in the 2025-26 season. Number 2 on my list is going to be Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, and it's been a weird offseason for Trae Young. I think Atlanta has actually done some decent things this offseason, but Trae has kind of hinted at the fact that maybe he's not the happiest camper out there in Atlanta with the Hawks, and it really does feel like time has just run its course with Trae and ATL. I don't know if they really want to continue the partnership after this season. I certainly think Trae is tired of playing second fiddle in the Eastern Conference and wants to go to a team where he knows he can compete for a title year in and year out. Trae Young is one of the best playmakers in the NBA, and he is responsible for a lot of the Atlanta Hawks offense, where he averages over 25 points a night and over 10 assists a night. I mean, he's responsible for almost 50 points a night for the Hawks. But when you have the likes of Jalen Johnson, you have a couple of really good young pieces over there in Atlanta as well, like Zachary Reese-Sachet. That team could be heading in a different direction, and maybe they decide they want to cash in on Trae Young as well. I don't think there would be any shortage of suitors if the Atlanta Hawks were to shop Trae Young in the trade market, and it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if he ended up on a team in the West or even on another team in the East looking to really bolster their offensive firepower. So I absolutely think Trae could be in play this season as a potential trade candidate. We'll get to Zion Williamson here because Zion, you got to prove it this year, man. You came up to camp. It looked like you were in shape. It looks like you have gotten over these injuries that have plagued you all throughout your career. This is your prove it year, Zion Williamson. And not only for you, I think it's sort of a prove it year from the Pelicans to you, because if Zion does not perform this season, like his trade value goes absolutely down the toilet. Like, he will have no trade value if he underperforms and gets injured again. So this is a big year for Zion, for both the Pelicans and Zion himself. He has not been able to stay on the court, man. He just hasn't. I mean, didn't play in 21-22, limited to just 29 games in 22-23. He did stay healthy in 23-24, but last season was limited to just 30 games. But you see the numbers on your screen right now. Like, he is a fantastic player when he plays. Unfortunately, it's just not that often that Zion stays on the court. I think that is absolutely the biggest key for him this season, is to stay healthy, stay effective, and maybe even if the Pelicans are out of the playoff race by February, which I kind of expect, to be honest with you, I could see a trade happening. Maybe, I don't know, could you see Zion heading to like the New York Knicks or the Philadelphia 76ers or another team in the Eastern Conference looking to make a playoff push? I do think there would be suitors, but he has to show that he is healthy and he can stay effective. That is absolutely the biggest key for Zion this year. And if he was a trade candidate, I think that would be a good thing, because that means that he has shown his ability to just stay on the court and his ability to be that superstar that we think he can be. Because look, if he's healthy, he's going to give you 25 and 8. Not many players in the NBA are going to do that with the power that Zion Williamson has. He's probably lost a step of athleticism or two since he entered the NBA, but he's still a really good player. Just got to stay on the court, and if he does, the Pelicans could cash in and maybe get a pretty big haul for him. We'll get to the other two players here on my trade candidates list in just a couple of seconds, but today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks, and you and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, those right decisions can get you paid. The basketball season is here, and don't miss out on the action with PrizePicks today. The best place to win money in over 40 states, including California, Georgia, and Texas. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. It's super easy to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 to 6 player stat projections. And I do have a basketball projection for you guys. Tonight's game between the Dallas Mavericks and the San Antonio Spurs should be a really, really good one. I'm going to take the more on Anthony Davis block shots at 1.5. Give me the more on Cooper Flagg blocks plus steals at 2.5, and I'll take the less on Victor Wembanyama assists at 4. So you can copy my picks, or you can make picks of your own. Just please make sure you do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, that is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Number 4. Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz. We have talked about Markkanen a little bit here on the channel and throughout Chat Sports, and he is a popular name who has been circulating in trade rumors because, not the least of which, Zach Lowe, who is one of the most in-tune NBA insiders out there, said, I can't imagine a scenario where Lauri Markkanen is on the Jazz in a year. Well, if that's not enough to spark trade rumors, I don't know what is. I really like Markkanen as a player, and I think he has kind of had a raw deal in his NBA career so far. Started out with the Bulls, who really didn't have a direction, and they just hover around 500. Then he went to the Cavs, where he kind of did take a step up in his career, but that was just as the Cavs were trying to get good. And then he was involved in the trade for Donovan Mitchell. So he came to Utah. Mitchell went to Cleveland, and that's really when Cleveland took off. And now Utah is in the absolute doldrums of the Western Conference. Really don't see a direction for them either. But I think Markkanen is a really good player, and if Utah wanted to jumpstart a rebuild, Markkanen would be the guy to trade. They call him the Finnish sniper for a reason. I mean, an elite three-point shooter at 7 feet tall, averaging 19 points a game. He battled with some injuries last year, limited to just 47 games, and rebounded not fantastic, less than 6 rebounds a night, but you can see he averaged 8.2 and 8.6 in the 2 years prior, and that's more where I see his range at. I think Lauri is a fantastic player for a team that's really wanting to play a 4 or 5 out style, who can run the pick and pop. Now, he's not going to be someone like, for instance, the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think that would be a great fit for Lauri Markkanen because they really want to play with the guy who can roll to the rim. Markkanen is someone who's going to really play out on the perimeter, play with his back to the basket, and shoot jumpers like a traditional European power forward would. So I do think Markkanen will have, I think he will have plenty of suitors there if the Jazz do end up deciding to trade him. I'm just not sure who exactly he would end up going to, but whoever he does go to will be getting a pretty good player in Markkanen, and he did just sign an extension recently, so he's locked up for a while as well, protecting his trade value. Some team is going to end up with a pretty good player. Hell, even if Utah ends up keeping him and they try to rebuild with him, there are a lot worse things than that as well. We'll get to the final one here in just a moment, but before we do that, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we have you covered all throughout the 25-26 NBA season with the latest NBA news, trade rumors, analysis, maybe even some live watch parties as well. So if you want all the NBA content here on YouTube, youtube.com/chatsportstv is your place to be. We also do NFL and college football as well if you're into that kind of stuff. The final one is, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'd be remiss if we didn't do a video and did not mention Giannis. That's where all the trade rumors are circulating right now. I feel like the NBA trade rumor mill is stopped because we're waiting to see what happens with Giannis. He's obviously starting the season in Milwaukee with the Bucks. Will he end the season in Milwaukee with the Bucks? That certainly remains to be seen. There are reports out there that he is leaning towards asking out of Milwaukee, and he really views the New York Knicks as the top destination for him if he were to be traded. I think if things go south early in the year for Milwaukee, this is the one to keep an eye on. Doc Rivers is going to be on the hot seat right away in Milwaukee. They're going to have to try to win early and win often. Otherwise, you could see some drama brewing there in Milwaukee with Giannis. And would it shock me if he was traded at the deadline in February? It absolutely would not, because I kind of thought he was going to be traded this offseason, but he ended up sticking it out with Milwaukee. And then you had the reports about how his family has already moved back to Athens and he wants to finish his career in Greece. Like, it does not feel like Giannis wants to finish his career in Milwaukee. And if that's the case, I think Milwaukee, time is ticking for you and Giannis. I'm a big fan of superstars staying with one team their entire career, and I hope Giannis ends up doing that and they can reverse course and the Milwaukee Bucks can end up keeping Giannis for his entire career. But at the end of the day, that's just not the NBA world we live in right now. So with that being said, I think the two destinations you have to keep an eye on for Giannis are the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, pairing up Wemby with Giannis would be absolutely lethal, especially on the defensive end. And I think the Knicks have long been rumored as the landing spot for Giannis if he were to ask for a trade out of Milwaukee. So those are my two destinations to keep an eye on. And we're still talking about one of the 3-4 best players in the league right now. Look, perennial 30-point scorer, 12 rebounds a night, an extremely efficient shooter from the field. And he's an extremely efficient shooter because everything he does is at the rim, because he is able to get to the rim at will without anybody stopping him. If he gets downhill, there is no one on planet Earth who is stopping Giannis Antetokounmpo from getting a bucket. And if the Milwaukee Bucks don't figure it out quickly here to start the season, you could see him on a different team. So those are your 5 players who I think could be traded before the start of the season. Now I'm going to ask you guys, before we get on out of here, who gets traded next out of these 5? If you think it's Reaves type 1, if you think it's Trae Young type 2, if you think it's Zion type 3, if you think it's Lauri Markkanen type 4, and if you think it's the Greek Freak, go ahead and type 5 down there in the comment section. That will do it for today's show, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to NBA Now by Chat Sports. Of course, if any major NBA breaking news happens, you know where to find it. It's right here on the channel. We'll see you guys soon.